Hey friends, Deanna here with Homestead and Chill, and I don't know if you've heard the news yet, probably have, but if not, we've moved. So we're standing here at our new homestead. We've lived here for about a month already, and I figured it was about time to do a full homestead tour. So I wanted to walk around, show you guys the property, kind of explain some of my, vision for the future and things like that, answer some questions. But just to get started, and a little bit of background. So this new property is 2.67 acres, so definitely, a size up from our previous space. It was about 0.19, so just under a fifth an acre before. But as you know, I'm always a proponent of doing a lot in small spaces. So we were just a little bit overgrown in our previous space, and we're really excited to have more space, not only for our own gardens, but to, have more space to do more projects to share with you. So you'll get to watch and follow along, with the transformation of this new property. So we're excited for that. Other questions are about our zone. So we are still basically in the same gardening zone or hardiness zone, but a little bit inland. So we moved in the same general vicinity of the central coast of California, but just a few miles inland. So we still get some evening fog from the ocean, a little coastal influence, but we definitely have sunnier days and a few degrees warmer during the day. And we might also get a little bit more chill hours. So before we were like 9B to 10A, kind of right on the border. Now we're firmly in 9B. So we'll be able to grow whatever we grew before, but maybe even a little bit more. We already have some producing stone fruit, so there's peaches and apricots and things like that out in the orchard, which we were kind of, not quite warm enough previously and didn't get quite enough chill hours for those to be really happy. So we're excited to try some new things. And then there are a few barns and outbuildings, so we might have some different farm animals in the future. There's a chicken coop that I'll show you that we already worked on and rehabbed. And then obviously there is an existing garden space, but it's not quite big enough for our needs for food production. So we're going to be expanding and doing a whole new big garden space, but taking our time to do it. So that's one of the other things as I always try to share with you guys is, Rome wasn't built with a day, and we took at least 6 years of like regularly working on projects at our last place to really get it up the way that we like to. And that was, a very small portion of the size of this place. So we have years of projects ahead of us that, again, I'm excited to share with you, but no rush. We're taking our time to observe the sun and, get our feelers out for what we want to do where. We do have kind of some shade to contend with. As you can see, we have a lot of big oak trees. So as far as deciding where our main garden space is going to be, that is more limited, and we only have a few really, really open sunny spots. So we pretty much know where those are going already. But yeah, I'll wander around and show you kind of what we've got planned. And again, this is all brand new as far as there are no plans yet, really. I might say some stuff now where in a few months or a few years, like, we're not going to do that, but I'll at least share with you where we're at right now in the process. So again, it's been about a month, and let's go check out what we got going on. Okay, so starting here, heading out the back door on the back patio. We have a lot of beautiful California coastal live oaks. So that's what all of these magnificent trees are. Here are the coastal live oaks, and then those big guys over on that side. Up here, we have, I don't know if you can see it actually hanging from one of the oak trees over in the distance, but hung a few hummingbird feeders. So we have one there, one here. Got to keep our hummingbird friends happy. And then on the patio itself, so far we've just kind of set up a couple chairs and then moved our gigantic cacti, which was very interesting to move with, but we actually just potted those up last weekend and got those all situated. So all of the potted plants you'll see in the video today are ones that we moved with. We brought quite a few with us from the old homestead. And then that's the chicken coop over there with the sun. Oh, speaking of, hi baby. Got a little hummer friend. Oh, a couple hummer friends. So we'll head over to the chicken coop in a moment. And that was existing here when we moved in, but we did have to do quite a bit of cleanup and rearranging and prep and whatnot to get it ready for our girls to move in. You might have seen that Homestead Update blog article that I did there. So let's go ahead and head out. And then this side just has more patio space and more cacti. We've got cacti over here too. Big guys. And then we'll wander over that way. That's the far end of the property. So like I said, this is 2.67 acres. This existing garden area was here when we moved in and is blooming with a beautiful array of hydrangeas and dahlias. And what I love, I don't know if you can see them all here in these front beds, is so much of these foxtail ferns, which were kind of like our quintessential entryway plant in our old homestead. If you remember We had quite a few super large and old. They do grow slow. Foxtail ferns right at the entrance to our old house. So that kind of stole my heart right when we saw those here, you know, littered into the landscape. So the pathway here is all catmint lined, which I have never seen so many bumblebees in one place. Like there were just bumbles and honeybees as well, and then the hummingbirds love it. It's actually just starting to fade. It is going to die back in winter, catmint does, so it'll be interesting kind of pruning that back and seeing what it looks like during winter time. But oh my gosh, it was just like in full bloom a few weeks ago. I wish I caught that for this tour. Was even more purple. It was so beautiful. So over on this side, couple plans for the future just to point out. The main new raised bed garden area is going to be out in that sunny field. Well, the sun's going down now because it's late. It's almost 7 right now. But I'll point out where we're going to put some new raised beds, or a lot of raised beds over there. We'll probably have a few hammock swings or something because those trees are just asking for a hammock swing, right? And then again, brought over all of these cacti, like the blue glow agave there, and quite a few different agaves and aloes. And then also, if you can tell, there's some great chunky wood chips down, and that's because we had an arborist and tree team out here a few weeks ago now to do some maintenance on our oaks, to, you know, just do some for the health of the trees and for fire defensible space, trimming up some limbs from the oaks, and also removed a few very dead pine trees. So we were left with a few massive piles of wood chips that we were able to spread out into this whole garden area, which really helped. It was pretty barren at that point. I mean, there was some mulch down, but it was old and pretty thin. So it looks really nice to refresh that. And I actually moved with, which is maybe silly, but some of my favorite, like curvy, I love landscaping with just, you know, pine cones and then these curvy, fun branches. So I brought those with us along with these potted guys and brought them in. Maybe we'll go take a peek at these dahlias actually really quick because they're just so pretty. And then all of this is thyme, this ground cover, which is great because obviously, you know, we can pick it and use it if needed, but the bees also really love the flowering thyme. And then as far as other existing herbs, this little cluster of herbs with rosemary and oregano and some mint was there. But yeah, these dahlias are just so gorgeous. I've never been a huge dahlia person before just because, you know, they're not maybe the top plant for pollinators that I usually like to prioritize, but gosh, they sure are pretty. So I am not complaining that they are here. And then this little tree here, there's actually a couple of them. You can't see this one because it kind of blends into the oaks here, but they're two flanking down there. I'll show you when we get down that way, are actually cherry blossom trees. So I was able to locate, they actually left behind the landscape plans, which was neat. So the previous owners had this professionally done and we found the plans. So we're able to identify what plants were here, which was really helpful. Some of them aren't super specific. Like this guy just says like fern tree for this big fern here. So I'm not sure exactly on the specific variety, but at least gives us a good jumping off point, especially for some of the plants that are a little harder to identify. So I'll come over this way and let me jump back on to the path. We have strawberries that are actually just kind of winding down. We had a lot of strawberries for a little bit there. And then let's see. And then in these raised beds, we planted out some of this actually before we even moved in. So like as soon as we got the keys, but we hadn't actually moved in to this homestead yet. We had already started, so this is all calendula in the front bed. We had already started calendula seedlings. Then we direct sowed. These are all bush beans here and then squash. Just because calendula, you know, we make calendula salve and whatnot for our shop. So we want to keep in stock and flush with those flowers. Bush beans are such a quick producer, you know, so we'll be having some beans here really shortly. So we got those planted because we moved in, you know, early summer to midsummer. And so we knew we didn't have a lot of time to do full blown, you know, a full summer garden. And then we did squash, which we've been eating a ton of squash already. They started producing, you know, within just a couple weeks of planting them. So as far as the style of the beds, I love, you know, what they did here with these stainless steel or the, you know, not stainless, but it's probably you know, galvanized steel beds. I don't know if that's what we're going to do. We'll probably just stick with our traditional redwood beds though that I love out in the new garden bed area, but I do think it makes a really fun, you know, attribute for this section. And I may end up, because as you can tell, I mean, again, it's already 7, so it's a little shady right now, but in general, this is a fairly shady garden. So I'm thinking that once we have our whole new raised bed area established out that direction, that we will convert this to perennials and things that will just, you know, stay put. So like we'll do all of our sages and oreganos and herbs, different things like that, maybe some different flowers, but just kind of do things that'll be more, you know, permanent here, not permanent, but for a few seasons at least, rather than doing our veggies here. And then over this direction, as we come through this little arch, they did have a little compost 3-bay system set up, which is great too. They're a little undersized to do the traditional 3-bay composting, so I'm not 100% sure if we'll keep those for sure or not. Everything's kind of just in limbo still, but great to have something to start with. And then again, going this way enters like the little orchard area. And again, I've tucked our little special things here and there, like my little happiness is a blooming garden sign and our potted plants and solar lights and things like that all throughout. And we've got a big, beautiful dahlia right here showing off for us. This isn't one of the biggest ones, but it sure is pretty. And then here, going into the orchard, there's a bunch of Spanish lavender, which is great. I'm going to mix in probably some different varieties of lavender, either here or elsewhere. I love Spanish lavender, but I want to also incorporate, you know, French and English as well. All of them have good medicinal properties, and each of them kind of have their own unique properties. So I like having all 3. Looking into the sun, there might be a little bit bright. So here were those other 2 cherry blossom trees that kind of flank the entryway to the existing orchard. We will definitely have more fruit trees than this orchard has space for, so we're going to be expanding out to this way and then way out towards the road as well. So I'll point that out. We've got our little hangout spot, and the most mature tree in the orchard is, hi Crow, or Jay, sorry. Hi Jay, how dare I call you the wrong name? Is this apricot tree. So we've been eating so many apricots. They're really tasty. And I had actually forgotten like how much I actually love apricots until we had some fresh from the tree. And so that is such a blessing to have this beautiful established tree. And then one of the other most established bits of fruit here is grapes. And so if you can see, this whole fence line here is grapevine, very mature, established grapevine. I think it's been here for quite some time, but I mean, if you peek in here, there are just bushels of ripe grapes. I can't even get to where all of we already harvested quite a few, but here's a nice big one there. Lots and lots of grapes. So that is on my to-do list for this weekend, is to at least start freezing some of these to preserve them, because they're all sort of ripening at once. And then maybe I'll make some jam. A few people had some fun ideas. We're not going to venture into wine quite at this moment, and we don't have a juicer, but a few folks recommended a steam juicer. So we're going to kind of experiment with, you know, the best ways to preserve and use these grapes. I love grape kombucha, so that's definitely one of the ideas. And then out here, we got a few little cannabis plants going. So we started those super late this season because we were in limbo house hunting. So we're gonna be harvesting probably in like November. It's frost free here though, for the most part. Frost is very rare. So these will just be some really late season plants for us. Look how bushy that one is though. I think that's the CBD something. It's just like a full CBD plant and very little to no THC. And then if you see these stakes on the ground, this is where I had started to kind of line out where potential raised beds would be. And so the idea is that we would have a pathway coming down that black fence there, out here, probably have like some kind of entryway or arch, and then transition all of this space to raised garden beds from here way over to the corner, maybe fading out into not having, you know, as many down in that corner, because it does get a little bit more narrow and a little bit more shady way in the far corner there. But I'm thinking we could maybe even put a greenhouse way at the end there. It's a really great afternoon sun that direction. And then we will be doing ground cover, like a commercial duty landscape fabric, all out in here with gravel on top of it is the plan, kind of like our old garden, because we do have a huge gopher issue. There are gopher holes everywhere. It's quite sad. I don't know if you can see this guy here, but see that right there? That it was a kiwi vine, and now it's dead because there was a couple artichoke plants that totally got eaten already. So anything that is not in a gopher basket gets killed. And so even these raised beds here have gopher wire inside of them. I prefer hardware cloth over gopher wire, chicken wire. Chicken wire breaks down and gophers can chew through it, rodents can chew through it, especially for predator proofing like a coop or something like that, for a chicken coop over there. Hardware cloth is the way to go. But yeah, there's a lot of gopher activity. Those have gopher wire in them. And then we're going to have to do, a hole underneath all of our raised beds out here. We'll have the hardware cloth underneath it. And then the reason we're doing a gravel ground cover rather than doing like wood chips or something is for defensible space for fire. So if you can see, the property behind us is just all wooded oaks, which is totally beautiful, and we're so blessed to have that. But they've also done a bit of fire clearance where they cleared brush from the rest of their property and they left it like piled up along our fence line, which we kind of maybe need to try to address at some point. But there's basically a lot of tinder all right here. And so by doing a non-flammable, gravel ground cover this way, it's really going to give us a great defensible space for fire. If there were ever a fire that direction and then moved this way, it would really block that for us. So that's kind of the plan for the future raised bed area. I think that we can do, I'm assuming, dozens, if not, I don't know, at least a dozen, if not a couple dozen raised beds out this way. And then I'm thinking like a central kind of sitting courtyard area with a fountain and arches and all kinds of fun stuff. I've just only started sketching, so I don't have a lot of firm ideas yet as far as materials and whatnot. We actually just went to the landscape supply today to start looking at like types of gravel and pavers, but that's all still again in the infancy of planning. So back to the orchard here. So this is a lime tree. This little guy is a fig tree we just planted yesterday. So this is a little Corky's Honey Delight. I was just finishing a blog post on how to grow figs, and figs are one of our favorite. So we just stuck that guy in the ground there yesterday. And then there's an orange and an avocado. And we think that this is a nectarine, but it hasn't fruited yet. This guy was a white peach, so delicious. And the birds got a few of them, as you can see, which is fine. We don't mind to share because we got plenty ourselves as well. But really, really delicious freestone white peaches there. Then we have a few apple trees. Not sure on the variety of these guys because these couple were existing. And then over here, hey friend. So that is a dwarf weeping mulberry. So this is one of my favorite trees at the old homestead, and I knew I wanted another one here. And thankfully we found one at the nursery the other day. So that's a dwarf weeping mulberry. I'm not 100% sure where it's going to be planted yet, so I just kind of tucked it there for now. And then over here, the other two that are still in pots are new trees that we picked up as well. And Excel fig that I'm super excited about. It's a green skin, green ripening fig. We find the green skin varieties that actually, ripen when they're kind of green to yellow, don't attract birds as much. But this one is supposedly resistant to splitting. Once they, become very ripe, they're not going to split as easily as a lot of the other ones. And so that is a new to us. I'm super excited to try. And then this is my baby. This is a lamb Haas avocado. Gosh, I'm gonna miss our avocados. Our Haas was just starting to just put off so much fruit at the other homestead. And so the idea for like the fig and the mulberry will probably stay here in this orchard area somewhere. I'm thinking there's enough space for the mulberry kind of over in this vicinity. These 3 terracotta beds, little planter boxes, are just there temporarily. We moved with those, so I just kind of set them there for now out of the way. That one's still full of herbs. But I'm thinking maybe the mulberry there. I think the fig might come kind of back here somewhere. But then the avocado, the road is right up that way, right up there where that like kind of hill goes up to those trees. And when cars go by and people are walking, they can look right down in here. So we're thinking like a good privacy screen for that far side of our property would be to do a whole row of avocados. So maybe like 3 or 4 avocados. So we picked up the lamb Hass. We'll probably get a regular Hass as well. And then we'll need, those are both type A avocados. And if you're familiar with avos, they need a type A and a type B for cross-pollination. So our type B would probably be like a Fuerte. And so we'll at least do 3, if not another, way on that far side over there. And then this area that I'm looking at right now, we'll actually go through the gate to get to, is going to be like the future, I call it the Pollinator Garden, but it's more, you know, it's for pollinators, of course, but just like kind of our more wild garden space. So an area where we'll have a mix of annual flowers, perennial flowers, probably mix in some fruit trees, and just do like, you know, in our previous garden, you probably saw, but we've had like meandering pathways and, you know, like stoned lined planter beds, some in ground, some containers, just really whimsical. Maybe put a fountain or something out here too. And then I'm thinking also a pond would be really wonderful to do one day. Our first priority will be to focus on the raised bed area because we really need to get, you know, our food production ramped up. But then switch our focus over to this area and just really do a lot of wonderful, you know, whimsical planting and space, you know, planning. So I'm super excited about this area, but it won't be something we tackle up front. You might be wondering what these are. So these are giant grow bags that Aaron found online. I think they're like 100-gallon grow bags. But this is just one of our temporary grow spaces to get more calendula. As I mentioned, that's kind of a priority for us. It's getting calendula going. So we just got those down, put some weed fabric down because this is a pretty weedy area that doesn't get a lot of water. So they were going to really take off. But yeah, just got some calendula planted for now so that we could keep flush with flowers. And then this is just opening up to more of the sort of wild and unknown for the property. So the pollinator zone for now will go to this fence. We don't have plans of removing the fences yet to kind of open it up because we're just not sure what we want to do yet. There is a great paddocks, and we'll kind of go over there in a second, arena where they used to have horses and goats and things. So that is a like 2-stall barn for future animals. I would love to have alpaca, but I'm not making any commitments because we're just not sure what we want to do yet. But I'm thinking alpaca would be really fun. Maybe goats, but they like destroy everything from what I've heard. We've thought about sheep. We're just kind of pondering and taking a moment. That will be, I'm assuming, a couple years from now. Over here is going to just kind of be left alone. This is our real shady Oak Glen area. You can see where they took one of the big branches when the arborist was out here because it was like super horizontal and coming way out here and was quite dead at the end. So that's what he recommended to do. But it gets a lot of shade, and so it's just kind of a nice open space, almost kind of like a park. You know, maybe one day we'll run a pathway down to this pollinator area where I'm sort of standing from the house so that it'll just be more tied in and connected. But I just love having all this wild, beautiful oak area. And we have great horned owls and quail. Oh, I'm so sad the quail aren't here today. There is a covey of about 14 quail that hang out all the time in the orchard and just pick around and make their funny cute noises and run along the fence line and stuff. They're just such a joy to have around. So we have quail and obviously the hummingbirds and the jays and the California towhees, but the great horned owls have been really fun because I actually haven't spotted them yet, but they like hoot right outside our bedroom window at night. It's just very cool. Okay. So moving right along, maybe we'll see the barn cats. Where are you guys? Kitties. So we adopted a few barn cats moving in here that the previous owners had fed, and they, you know, basically were going to trap them if we didn't take them. And so we adopted, there's one. Hi, bud. Hi, Bear. So it's Bear and Badger are twin tabby boys. So they kind of hang out over here and, you know, they'll be mousers and whatnot, but we keep them well fed. And what's really was so cute the other day was, not this guy, he's around a lot, but Badger, wherever he is so stinking sweet. He was the most scared at first, and he like now comes up to us and rolls around and just gets so affectionate. And he was laying and flopping around while the quail were out. and doesn't even care. Like, they're like buds and they all hang out together. So he's not going after our quail, which is always kind of a concern, you know, with having cats out. That I don't think they're doing too much damage besides hopefully just maybe a little mousing, huh? Huh, Bear? And so this structure is kind of an interesting one, so I'll go in there. But we've dubbed it the trip shed for now, but it's going to become our grow room. And so as you can see, we just, for now, I stuck my potting bench here and just kind of have, you know, those are all boxes of pots and our garden hoops and things. So this is a storage area. Sorry, excuse all the crunching leaves. That I already turned the light on because I knew I was coming in here, but we're gonna get this fixed up just as a workspace and, you know, storage area in here. Great place to keep tools and whatnot. But you guys had to check out this room. So, oh, the door's already open, so now you don't get to see the keep out. Okay, so pretend that wasn't open. Do not enter. So, do not enter. We're entering. This room, I love this painting, was, I believe, there was actually even like a TV in here, was the teenage daughter's like hangout room. Let me turn on the light. So this is why we call it the trip shed. So there is just all kinds of trippy paintings and glow in the dark stars and black lights and all of the high school bedroom vibes. I don't know about you guys, but my bedroom definitely looked like this in high school. So, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be too dark to see, but there's like a really rad Alice in Wonderland painting over here. So the idea for this room though, because, you know, there is a window, we're gonna get a screen so we can open it without critters coming in, you know, and have ventilation, and it's actually all, you know, hooked up with electricity and whatnot, is this is going to be kind of our seed starting grow room for now. It definitely has the grow room vibes. But, you know, we used to have a greenhouse for seed starting and we just don't have that set up right now. So we actually got a really cool, like, 3-tiered light tray thing, or I mean not tray, but like a shelving system that we're going to put here on this wall from Gardener Supply. And that's actually going to be a post that I think I'm going to do maybe in the next couple weeks, is like a transformation of this room. And we're going to seal the floor because the floor is just kind of a hot mess and it is honestly a little bit stinky in here. So we're just going to get it fixed up and cleaned up, and we're going to leave the paintings as is, but probably just paint the floor, get this kind of decked out, move some of our potting shed, like or whatever they're called, greenhouse benches and stuff in here, and maybe hang a few extra lights beyond the 3-tier one, and just have a place to start our seeds out here. And I think it just fits the vibe perfectly. So this room was just one of those funny surprises when we moved in that was ironically, oh, let me turn the light off, ironically kind of strangely perfect for us. And then in here is just farmy storage stuff, and that goes out to the front of the property, which I don't even think we'll go check out today. We're on a pretty private country road and don't have a whole lot going on in the front yard. It is a much larger property in the back, which is awesome, than in the front. Hi, Whiny Bear. Hi, Bear. Oh, there's Badger. Hi, Badger. Hi, you're gonna roll around for us because you're so sweet. You're such a good boy. Anyway, sorry, I could sit here and talk to the cats all day, but I won't bore you guys with that. But yeah, these two are just a hoot. Hi, Badger. Oh, sorry. Oh, you are a little bit feral. You crunch on the leaves. You'd think you'd be used to it, and it scares him. I didn't mean to scare you. There you go. Oh, you're such a nice boy. You're such a nice boy. Good Badger. Good Badger. Hi, honey. Hi. Are you saying hi? Okay. I'm not going to pet you right now because I can't wash my hands afterwards. He like totally rolls in poison oak, and Aaron's very allergic to poison oak, so I want to be conscientious of touching him and then touching things. So I'm almost done, so I'll get wrapped up here soon, but this is like the nether regions of the property. So the property goes all the way up to this far corner up here. It is just kind of a sandy, hot mess. And nothing's really going on here. This is where the goats and the horse would just range and eat weeds, which is definitely helpful to have, you know, a weed eater around here. But we are thinking, because there's like this access gate and then like our driveway area right here, maybe one day could be kind of a cute spot for, and this is like one day, like 5 years from now at least, once we tackle all these other projects I'm talking about. Check out our native soil too. It's just sand, but would be a neat place to have like a separate little, I don't know, little granny unit, Airbnb type thing, because then we could landscape all kinds of stuff and just make it its own little area over here. And then, yeah, so here's the 2-horse barn. Then they had this big trough pool thing that we just leaned up because it was collecting water and mosquitoes. Not good. Hi, Badger Bear. Hey, good boy. I love having the cats outside. We've always just had indoor cats, and I will admit it's kind of fun to have some friends outside. Are you coming? Are you gonna come say hi? He actually sleeps literally in the barn a lot of times. So, and we're just using this for mishmash garden storage right now. So we have like random, oh my gosh, what is that? Tomato cages and stakes and arches, mostly tomato cages. All kinds of stuff stored in here. You can kind of see the other side's empty. So it's just a barn. Hi, are you coming? I think Badger's gonna jump up in the window, but anywho. And then this is like the other little, so that's where the road is. Where I was saying like a row of avocados could be helpful is over that direction. Then yeah, this is just a crazy arena area. I won't even go wander in there. But then our property goes up to the road and back to the second fence back. So this is like the arena, and then there's another little area beyond that second fence. So yeah, got some space for some animals and all kinds of projects. I don't think we're gonna run out of things to do. That's for sure. I'm trying to think of other, oh, hi bud, are you coming? Are you coming to see Daddy? Aaron came out too. Hi. Hi. He just snuck up behind me. Kitty kitty. Oh, okay. So FAQ, a lot of people were asking about different things like, okay, we haven't seen any snakes, which is really kind of surprising because I know there are potentially rattlesnakes in this area or other snakes. The property's fairly well fenced, but I mean they could get under that gate and stuff, but so far we haven't seen snakes, so I don't know if the owls are just doing a good job or what's going on there. And then no coyotes, really no deer. We do have, it seems like more insect pests than before though. So we've already noticed like a lot more like grasshoppers and different caterpillars eating our plants that we've, you know, haven't contended with in the past. So that's a little bit different for us. As far as, what else was there? Yeah, so, oh, over here is where our garlic, you can see our garlic drying on this little bench that we have. So that's one of the benches I said we're going to move into this little trip shed grow room. So we've got our garlic there. And then coming back around. Beautiful time of evening. I actually needed to film this little tour for you guys this evening specifically because it wasn't foggy. So it has been foggy quite a bit in the evening and in the mornings, which is great because it cools down for us. Again, we're more inland than we were before, but we still get that coastal influence quite a bit. So the ocean is, I don't know, maybe 10 miles that direction. And we were a mile to the ocean before. But yeah, I probably missed some question or thing I wanted to mention, considering I just rambled at you guys for half hour straight without stopping. So thanks for tuning in and listening. And yeah, stay tuned for, I will try to do more YouTube videos. I don't love, if you haven't noticed, actually being on camera. Like that's something I'm working on, but you know. So we will try to continue to document on film, you know, some of these projects that we're going to be doing, and probably, you know, break them up into mini chunks. But again, now that we've kind of gone all the way back around here, this will be like a pathway that goes out to an archway to the new raised bed garden, all out that way. So kind of bringing you full circle there. And then we'll go take a peek at the chicken coop real quick before we wrap up. Huh, girls? So we put our sun that was on the side of our house. So we enter, human door is over here. And let's see here. And again, I said, I think you might have seen the blog post in here, but we just kind of added some nest boxes and a roost. There are feathers everywhere right now because they're all molting. So it is molting season. And so we've got a mess in there. But overall, we just feel super blessed, and excited for this chapter in our lives. It's been a lot of hard work and a long time coming, and we're so thrilled that you're excited to follow along with us and, you know, watch the transformation of a new space. And we're so grateful for all of you that tune in. Hi, birds. I'm gonna come in here. I don't know if I can open this thing. Oh, I did it. Sometimes that's hard to open with one hand. Hey, girls, what are you doing? What are you doing, birds? So we added a fun little roost in here for them with a piece of oak that was around our property. Hey. Hey, chicken birds. You guys look like ragamuffins. Look at Phoebe and Hennifer barely have tails right now because they were molting. Yeah, so here's the little coop area. And again, would be the garden area in the future. And then I'm thinking maybe a greenhouse kind of over at that end. And it would also sort of shield. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Maybe I'll go out to say that final bit. But basic chicken coop setup here. Oh, birds. Oh, birds. So the last thing I was just going to say is the plan for some other fun landscaping around the future garden area, because obviously it's not going to be just raised beds. So out all along the fence line this way and then up along this fence, we want to do just a whole mix of really beautiful edible and ornamental plants, but I'm thinking like bay laurel, pineapple guava, maybe lemon guava, rosemary, lavender, salvia, just all that kind of stuff, and mix them in like a really fun pattern all along that fence line to be just the backdrop, a new green backdrop for our new garden space. So I guess I will wrap this up and let y'all get on to whatever you're doing. But thanks again for tuning in, and stay tuned for even more fun adventures and transformations and projects. And there's a lemon tree. And Aaron kicked on the lights. Oh, you can barely even see him in here. All right. Have a beautiful evening or day, whatever time it is that you're watching.